Throughout the entire season, Manchester United have been linked to midfield targets. Jack Grealish and James Maddison are two of the favourites to join Manchester United. However, who is better and who's most likely to join Manchester United? Also, who would you want at Manchester United? What's up, everybody? It's the Sports Code, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. This video is all going to be about the differences between James Maddison and Jack Grealish and who should be the next Manchester United midfield signing. There's been a lot of talk about these two in specific because of obviously both of them are English, both of them are very, very solid players. So before we get started, please like, subscribe, and let me know who you guys think should be the next Manchester United midfield signing. Is it Jack Grealish? Is it James Maddison, or is it anybody else that we are linked to? Let us know. There's a lot of midfield targets out there, and Diddy's one that's been mentioned around. Partey, you've also got Bellingham. There is a lot that we can get linked to, man. So we've got a lot to talk about. But the reason why I want to specify these two are because these two are playing in a very similar position, and they're both very, very good players. James Maddison from Leicester has been a goal and assist scoring machine this season. He has pretty much put shock on a lot of people's faces by how much he's improved within one season, this season specifically, and last season as well. James Maddison has been a player that has openly flirted with Manchester United and almost tried to get a move out. And Jack Grealish is another one that Manchester United have looked at very openly. Very, very, very good reports about Jack Grealish wanting to come to Manchester United, willing to fight to get into Manchester United, as well as already a deal potentially being done between the two, between Aston Villa and Manchester United. So what is the story there? We have to look at their stats, and the stats are very good. Now, I don't know specific numbers, but these two are very identical in their stats. One clearly plays for a relegation side in Jack Grealish, and the other one plays for Leicester, who is currently in a probably guaranteed a Champions League opportunity if the season continues. Now, the question is for everybody that's involved, are these two, and is there anything that specifies the two? Now, for anybody that knows Jack Grealish and watches him play, he has a very good attitude. His attitude, especially in the terms of the footballing sense, is phenomenal. He may look like a person that it's all about him, but when he plays, it's a lot different. He gets a bunch of assists. He makes his teammates better. He fights, he tackles. He has that aggression that Manchester United players that would currently need in order to get into the team. There's a lot that can go into that as well. Is it just the tackling? Is it the attitude? Is it the fact that he's considered a leader in that team? I believe he captains them as well. There's a lot that can be deciphered in terms of a Jack Grealish performance. To look at James Maddison, I think James Maddison is a very, very good dead ball specialist. Free kicks, penalties, corners, that's his game. He can create something out of nothing when he plays in that type of position. So for that, you have to give a thumbs up for James Maddison. Also, he's one of those players where he instantly makes us better. He's arguably the better player of the two, if you want to compare. And the way that he plays proves it. He's playing in a top 4 team and he's putting up great numbers, taking that team to the next level. But there are two sides to that. Is it because of the better players around him that makes James Maddison shine the way he does? Or is it the fact that Jack Grealish, that's doing it on a worse team with worse players, end up being the reason why what he does is so much better in terms of Jack Grealish? For me, the answer is in the middle. James Maddison will not have to worry about having bad players around him at Manchester United, or at least to compare to the Aston Villa players. If James Maddison was to end up signing at Manchester United, I think easily he would be one of our better players just because of the players around him. He can still get those assists that he seems to get a lot of. He can still get those free kicks. He can still get those goals in the box. He reminds me of a typical number 10. He is a proper number 10. He's a number 10 where if we played Bruno in centre midfield, kind of having a box-to-box role, then James Maddison can come in and really, really take a hold of that cam position. However, um, the last few months of play for him has not been very good. And I'm not sure if that's because of the injury of Ndidi that's affected everybody on that team. But Leicester has been struggling since that Ndidi injury, and it's not something that should be taken lightly. Maybe it is the type of players around them that affects it. Obviously, they've conceded a lot more goals, but they've also hasn't created many goals. And is that due to James Maddison or is that due to the entire team? With Jack Grealish, I think he's already on a losing team, so the stats kind of hide how good of the season stats, their wins and losses kind of hide how much of a good season he's having. And for that, we have to give credit to Jack Grealish as well. He's had an incredible season behind a almost relegation Aston Villa. And Aston Villa that had a lot of promise coming into the Premier League, but has never fulfilled it. But Jack Grealish has fulfilled what he's been set out to do. I think Manchester United are very intelligent in looking into a player like Jack Grealish, because it doesn't look like anybody else has been linked to him. But the season has shown that he's arguably the same, if not maybe a tad bit worse than James Maddison. But he's got the attitude that makes me believe that he could be the right fit no matter what. Even if he wasn't even an attacking midfielder, the attitude itself is something that makes me believe Jack Grealish could be the guy for Manchester United. Who would I rather have? I think if you had to give me the both of them for the same price, I would probably go for Jack Grealish just because I feel like there's more to him than James Maddison. But if you were to give me James Maddison, I would love him almost as equally just because we know him, we know what he's about. He's already pretty much said that he would love to sign for Manchester United, not openly, but with the amount of comments, liking Manchester United posts, commenting on Manchester United posts, and all of this. It's no secret that James Maddison wouldn't mind playing here, and I think Jack Grealish is the same. Next up, we have to look at the price. Now, the price is something that's very, very, very big in terms of Manchester United. We all know Manchester United do not make signings willy nilly. They have to figure out the price. They have to negotiate and negotiate and negotiate. And at the end of the day, Manchester United are going to do what's best for them and their pockets, their money. It's not going to be, okay, we need James Maddison, let's throw 120 million at them and see if they bite. It's not going to be like that. It's never like that for Manchester United. They're going to say, oh, if James Maddison's worth 100, let's give you 60 and we'll go from there. We can slowly go up. We'll give you add-ons. We'll give you sell-on clauses. But we won't give you the money out and out. We're gonna make this journey as long as possible. We're gonna play the waiting game because in the end we're gonna win. That's what Manchester United are thinking every time they do a transfer. Every time they go into a transfer for a player, it's happened with Wan-Bissaka, happened with Harry Maguire, happened with Bruno Fernandes. I think the only one that didn't happen with is Daniel James because I think we probably overpaid for that. But at the end of the day, that's where Manchester United are in terms of their level. So, what's best for Manchester United financially? I think if you're going for James Maddison, you're looking at around 80 to 100 million. I think James Maddison would be more expensive than Harry Maguire just because he's in a much more attacking role. And if you're an attacker, you're more likely to get sold for more money. That's where I am with James Maddison. I don't think he's as good as Harry Maguire because I think Harry Maguire has experience the likes that James Maddison just doesn't have at the moment. But if it's the bet, if Leicester are willing to negotiate, then we might be able to get him for less, and it's a big step up for James Maddison because he might get Champions League football, but he also will be playing for a much bigger club than Leicester. I'm sorry to Leicester fans, but your club is very. I respect the hell out of Leicester. I really do. I think they're arguably my second favorite team that I like to watch. Third favorite team I like to watch in the Premier League. They have my respect. They've had my respect since they won their first Premier League title. It's an incredible story. But Manchester United are a bigger team than Leicester. We are in stature, and I think if we end up, I know they're above us, but I do think we are a better side with just if we had our team fully fit. That's just my opinion. I'm definitely not saying that we're worse, and I'm saying we're a little bit better than them. But they're above us on the table. So what does that say? We also have to think. Look, we also have to look at Leicester's willingness to sell. Leicester are currently going to be in a Champions League position. Leicester are going to get their money, due to the financial situation. Leicester might not make a lot of money this year, but the Champions League next year, they might want to keep James Maddison to see how far they go. So I think the further you go, the more money you get. So maybe Leicester are not willing to sell anybody due to that next season. It's an interesting topic of discussion. Will Leicester actually want to sell? It's going to be a very hard bargaining process if Manchester United chooses James Maddison and James Maddison chooses Manchester United. Very, very hard negotiation to make. Aston Villa's a little bit more simple because they're going to be in a relegation battle. They're not going to make a lot of money this year. If anything, they're going to lose money. Manchester United can easily swoop in, and in the market besides this pandemic, you could probably get in for 50 million, 60 million, maybe even 40 million. But with this pandemic, you could probably get in for a lot cheaper than that because Aston Villa will be desperate to make some money off of him. So I think Jack Grealish will be a much easier deal to make. And I think both parties would be very interested in letting him go. I think Aston Villa's openly said they're willing to let him go. And that's the type of club that they have to be in order to stay around. And that's the clubs Manchester United deal with in order to get good up-and-coming players. So Manchester United will probably choose Grealish if it's a financial problem or a financial situation. But if they're looking for the best out-and-out player, James Maddison might be the better player, but the attitude might not be there. Now, before I end the video and give you my answer, there's been news about not James Maddison, Jack Grealish's car being completely destroyed and left and abandoned. A lot of people are saying that this was due to him going out, or maybe his car's been stolen. But police ended up finding this, so I'm not really sure what happened. So if anybody knows what happened, let me know. I've heard rumors that he was just going out to see a couple of lads, and it's not the best situation. It's not the best look for him, is it? However, he's if his car's been stolen, then hopefully everything gets sorted with that soon. It's just not a nice situation to be in, is it? But until I know fully about that, I can't question Jack Grealish's attitude towards football and towards his life. So, who I think Manchester United are going to go with is probably going to be Jack Grealish. He's a lot cheaper. He has a much more leadership type attitude towards football, and I think he could give us a lot of grit and determination, and a lot more hardworking player. For James Maddison, I understand he's hardworking as well, but I feel like James Maddison is the type of player that when he's in form, he's amazing. But when he's not in form, he won't provide any help at all. And I feel like we have already enough players like that. But either way, I'll be extremely excited for both. I think if you're going to ask me, if I was the owner of Manchester United, I would probably go for Jack Grealish as well. Just seems up a much bigger step for him. Plus, he might have a good reason to play on the bench as well. If Bruno Fernandes is going to take that cam spot, we're going to have a very solid backup. I feel like he would be happy to do that as well because he's at a bigger club with more opportunity to end up becoming one of the stars of a very big club. It's very intriguing for Jack Grealish. For Leicester and for James Maddison, it's going to be very hard to make a deal happen with those two. So I think the answers here is Jack Grealish. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if there's any other midfielders I should talk about, if there's any other midfielders that you'd like to see at Manchester United. There's been a lot that we've been linked to. As I said before, Ndidi, Partey, obviously James Maddison, Jack Grealish, Milinkovic-Savic is another one. I don't know. There's a lot that we've been linked to. Even Sol Niguez. There's a lot of midfielders that Manchester United are looking at, and I definitely think it's the right position to look. So thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This is the Sports Code. Take care and peace.